Hi, welcome to Voice of Feathers Tarot. If you clicked on this video, I want to say thank you. I do hope that you'll stick around. I trust there's going to be a message in here for you. I've already pulled a couple of cards. I've been tapping into the forthcoming energy for the Leo season that's coming up from July 23rd. Specifically looking at the period from July 23rd to July 30th. However, if you have stumbled across this message at a different time, I consider these messages timeless, so feel free to watch at any time. So I'm picking up on a very particular energy here. This could be just for one person. That's not to say that there might not be general messages in here as well. I'm sure that there will be. But the person I'm talking to is an author or someone who aspires to be an author. You are someone who has a lot of stories to tell, and I'm getting at the moment that you feel like you're almost living two different lives, one where you're an author and then another life where you're somebody else or you have a different identity entirely. What I'm getting is that you've built up sort of an identity that feels acceptable. It feels socially acceptable. It feels palatable, but it's not who you truly are. Okay, so what I'm getting is that whoever you are, you're working on a particular story that has something to do with this idea that you live two different lives, or you're able to sort of switch between two different realities is what I'm getting. So for some of you, I'm getting that this could relate to your dream space. Your dream space almost feels like another life that you're living. Okay, so you might feel like you go to sleep every night and you're really just living a different life, or a different version of your life. This is what keeps coming up in this reading. This idea of living a double life, or being able to sort of switch between different realms of existence. And some of you, if you're resonating with the author or the storyteller archetype, this is how you're navigating these different worlds, is through storytelling. It's through the stories that you really want to tell. And you might even be incorporating some of your dreams into a novel that you're writing, is something that I'm picking up on as well. I'm hearing that, like, even though you don't realize it, these dreams and the stories that you're telling based on these dreams really are telling the story of your life. There are messages hidden within your own writing that are just for you. Okay, so pay attention to that. Go back and read old drafts I'm hearing, because there's messages from spirit or from your higher self, from you to you. I'm getting that for a long, long time, you've almost assumed you're a creative. You've assumed that you're an artist. You've assumed that you're an author, but you've never actually put anything out into the world in that capacity. You've never given yourself permission to self-publish even, or self-promote. And I feel that this is changing now. It's almost like you've integrated this new identity, so much so that you're starting to actually hop timelines, and you're starting to actually basically quantum leap into a completely different life. So this is really coming through for the Leo season. So gear up, because I feel like you're going to have new opportunities that are going to allow you to transform into the version of you who, as a child, you always assumed you would become. So if you spent time as a child writing stories, and then you ended up in some other career where you don't necessarily indulge in creativity in that way, or maybe you do, but it's in just a very different form, I see this shifting. I feel like you're really playing with that idea and really just allowing yourself to be like, hey, this is me, and I'm an author. I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. This is who I am. And I'm going to put myself out there. And even if I'm only my own audience, if I'm my only audience, then that's okay. And that's what I'm getting. Because I feel like you've worked really, really hard in whatever you've done. You've reached a level of completion here with the World card at the center of your reading, okay? And you've been able to juggle a lot. Sometimes you've struggled with that juggle, not going to lie. This is coming up as sort of like a blockage in your reading. But with the World card being at the center, I feel like that's a very minimal sort of disruption compared to the extent of your power, is what I'm getting. But what's been lacking is a sense of speed, a sense of momentum, I suppose is a better word for it. A sense of my life's really going somewhere. You might have completed something really big or had a really big achievement, maybe a big promotion at work or something like that. And yet it doesn't give you fulfillment. It doesn't give you a sense of satisfaction in the way that it should, in the way that perhaps others think that it should. And what I'm getting here is that the second you actually admit to yourself and to the world, I'm actually not this thing I've been working on. I'm an artist. I'm an author. I'm a storyteller. Whatever it might be. That's when things really start to shift for you. That's when I'm getting you hear things clearly and you tap into higher frequencies. And when you do that, you start to invite more joy into your life. You start to feel more satisfied and more fulfilled with this Nine of Cups coming out as the forthcoming energy for you in this upcoming Leo season. Let's have a look at what the advice is. Six of Cups. Yeah. It's like what I was talking about. It's like, what did you want to be when you were a little kid? Because the timelines are catching up and you're starting to actually align with that. Who you were as a kid is who you really are. It's pure, it's unadulterated, right? There's messages there. If you can find pieces of art or pieces of writing that you made when you were a child, it's going to be really, really important to reflect on those again at this time. There's something really beautiful and really nostalgic about it. I just keep getting the message of like you telling your own life story, but through a different world. And I feel like this is a novel that you're writing or some art piece, whatever it is. If it's not a written story, it could be through another medium. That's completely fine as well. But yeah, it's something to do with like integrating what you wanted to be as a kid when you grew up. Now you're grown up, you're actually like starting to allow that to be the reality. So for the external influences or the sorry, the perceptions of others, we've got the Eight of Swords. Look at that. It's like an angel in a cage, but the cage is open, so they could technically be free. I don't know. I feel like this is someone who sees your potential, or like this is someone who the world sees their potential, but for whatever reason, they've been beaten down and made to believe that they can only live within this very small set of circumstances, like prescribed set of circumstances. Excuse me. I'm getting like this feeling of like living under a dome almost. Like you might have felt that way lately. And if that's the case, I'm hearing that if you want to be more adventurous, but you're also feeling a little bit too fragile to do that, then storytelling and creativity is the best way to do that. You can do that without actually having to physically go anywhere. You can mentally, emotionally, and psychically go on adventures through the stories that you tell, through the art that you make. That's what keeps coming up. So the message here is that others see your capacity for freedom. It's time for you to see your capacity for freedom as well and to choose it above anything else, anything that is oppressive, anything that chains you or binds you. The hopes and fears, we've got the wheel of fortune, right? The wheel keeps on spinning. Sometimes we'll have good fortune, periods of good fortune. Sometimes we'll have periods of misfortune. It keeps turning. It keeps on happening. I think this is saying that you fear disappointment. You know, I'm really seeing that with her heart being emphasized there in that first wheel. And she's also holding a little watch as well. And what I'm getting there is that there's a bit of a fear around how long it might take to see results. Like I said, the wheel keeps on turning. There'll be periods of fortune, periods of misfortune. That's just life. That's a guarantee, okay? Consider this. It might take some time to realize your dreams, to make them real, but that time is going to pass anyway. So you're really being called and really being invited to just start. Just start and just keep the momentum going, keep those cogs churning. And yeah, that's the only way you're going to be able to overcome that fear. That's the only way that you're going to be able to overcome that fear of either how long things might take, or the fear of disappointment, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection. Keep the momentum up. That's the best antidote that you could possibly ask for in this situation. For the outcome, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. Look at that. It's so amazing. So this is the self-made woman. Okay, this is what we're looking at. This is someone who they don't need to have a cap on the level of abundance that they have in their life or that is available to them in their life. They know that they can just simply create it. That's an amazing card to come out, especially alongside the 9 of Cups. Like the 9 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles together, I just feel like the cycle of lack, the cycle of doing things that make you feel trapped is over. You're really coming into an era where you're realizing you can just, in the same way you write your stories, in the same way you paint your pictures, you can do the same for your own life. You can write the story of your own life. You can paint the picture of how you want your life to look. You have the power to do that. You are ultimately the creator. Okay, let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. 4 of Pentacles. The bottom of the deck card is either energy you want to invite or energy you want to avoid, depending on what resonates. So I feel that this is talking about a tendency to play small because you don't believe in your own source of power. You don't believe in the extent of your abilities. So you limit the amount that you think that you can have in your life. But this could also be like, I was sort of hinting at it earlier, like if you pursue a traditional corporate career, for example, sure, there might be like a ladder you could technically climb, but there's still always going to be a cap on the amount of abundance that you can access because someone else is responsible for you being compensated. All right, so consider the alternative. Consider that you can be in charge of that and that there doesn't actually have to be any limits. I see her and she's sort of embodying a house and she's sort of staying behind the fence here. This is saying like, put yourself out there. Just remember that as long as you put yourself out there, opportunities are going to come to you. If you stay where you're at and you don't kind of push the boundaries, then you're going to get what you're going to get. Okay. So that's what I'm getting. I'm going to leave the message there because I feel like I've tried to record a bunch of readings today and they keep getting interrupted. So before this one gets interrupted, I'm just going to leave it there and trust that it resonated for who it was meant for. So if you stuck around this long, thank you so much and I'll see you in the next one.